1444, the Portuguese started bringing slaves. I'm getting an ice cream. Captain Cook. Check it out. West Africa into Portugal. So what did everyone think of the history of Brazil then? What do you think? She's set up outside her car, selling out the back of it. I finally found a Brazilian Scotch egg, which is around $2.60 right now. Oh, please tell me more about the slave trade. Oh yes, please tell me more. So, welcome to Rio, welcome to Brazil. Discovered by the Portuguese. Some say it was the Spanish, but anyway, by the Portuguese. Pedro Álvares Cabral in 1500. So, a few years before Francisco Pizarro arrived on his third expedition to wipe out the Incas. Some evidence suggests that the Spanish were here first, but they couldn't claim it due to a treaty. And the treaty was any land discovered outside of Europe would be equally shared between the Spanish and the Portuguese. Anyway, 1500, Pedro stamps his little Portuguese flag in here. Brazil, a Portuguese colony, very far away. And what was Pedro doing here anyway? Pedro, what are you doing? He was on his way to India. I think he got a bit lost. But anyway, he landed now in what is modern day Brazil. And why is it called Brazil? Well, Brazilwood. It's a tree, big tree in Brazil. Brazilwood. Well, that was the name it's given now anyway. But they used that to extract red dye from the tree itself. Hopefully we find a tree on our visit. But the tree was over-harvested. People wanted the dye so badly, it almost wiped it out completely. But they used the red dye for clothing, for example, or anything else really. So yeah, over-harvesting of Brazilwood. But that is what gave Brazil its name today. So, I'm going to check out this little Portuguese reading room. Apparently it's got the largest collection of Portuguese books outside of Portugal. Right next to here. Let's check it out. See if it's any good. So... check it out. No one comes here to actually read. Not bad, is it? Not bad. So, how do you read the books? There's ropes all the way around. Have you ever seen Porn Stars, the TV show where where you sell things and they buy it off you in Las Vegas? It reminds me of that. You go to the location and you expect to meet Rick and everyone else, but when you go there, you're just in this long line and there's a rope all the way around and you get funneled through. Similar experience. I'm curious how to read the books. Not that I'd understand them, but it's pretty cool though, isn't it? Look at that chandelier as well. Wow. So, not bad, is it? Pretty good. You don't see much of that outside Europe anyway. Alright, let's resume. Hey, check it out. It's Captain Cook. No? Maybe it's just me. It looks like Captain Cook in a karate uniform. Who is it? Ah, okay. I was wrong. Alright. Let the force be with you. Look at that, Suzi Travesti. You can call her WhatsApp, but I think she has something growing from her midsection. So you might want to be careful. Be careful of Suzi. So, did you know there's a tram system in Rio, downtown Rio? It's not bad, is it? Everything's pretty much walkable, but you can get the tram. So talking about the names, like the name of Brazil, where it got its name from, it wasn't always called Brazil. It was called Santa Cruz, which means Holy Cross. or even land of the parrots, which it was called by some people. So little is known about Brazil before good old Pedicure arrived here. Little is known. When they landed, there were so many indigenous tribes, resulting to cannibalism. They were eating each other. The Portuguese arrived and they're like, oh, this is bloody horrible, isn't it? Haven't seen this for around 400 or 500 years. Let's convert them. Let's introduce Christianity into the lands. Just like the Spanish, really, isn't it? But when they arrived, just like Pizarro's expedition, they brought all kinds of diseases, the smallpox, tuberculosis, influenza, all diseases that the indigenous tribes has no natural protection against. So a lot of them were wiped out, therefore losing a lot of their history and everything else. But when the Portuguese arrived, they didn't really have much interest in settling in Brazil. Not like Pizarro when he wanted a city in his name. So a little later, what happened was Portugal gave the land to noblemen, and they would be in charge of people coming into the land. So Brazil, modern day Brazil, was divided into strips, and each section owned by some sort of noble person. But yeah, so it was very different from how the kind of Spanish came and colonized. A little bit different. I thought there was a guy selling Amazon packages, but I think he's actually a postman doing his work, but I'm not sure. This guy looks like John Candy. Do you remember John Candy? Looks a bit like John Candy, doesn't he? But his sword has been stolen, look, and whatever else he was, I guess his sheath for his sword. I suppose he doesn't need the sheath when his sword isn't there anymore. So, discovered in 1500, around 3 decades later. Well, Portugal, they realized they had a nice little business going. You know, they have all this Brazilwood that they can export with all the dye. And then sugarcane. Sugarcane grows quite fast, and you need lots of people to harvest the sugarcane and export it. And they can make a lot of money doing that. So before they had a trade route with India, China, you know, getting a nice bit of money from import-export there. But now Brazil. Now, colonization sounds pretty interesting, doesn't it? But they weren't the only ones. The French had a little finger in there. Lots of different countries want a piece of the action, you know. So it increased Portuguese presence in the region. And they wanted more of a stronghold on this little money fountain. But what they did, they tried to take some of the indigenous people, what's left of them anyway after the diseases, as slaves. And they would, you know, chop down the sugar cane, manufacture it as best as they can in those days, and help load it on the ships, sell it. Lots of slaves. But what happens when you have so much sugar cane and so few indigenous people to work as slaves? What do you do then? Well, enter the slave trade. Touchy subject. So, what did everyone think of the history of Brazil then? What do you think? Oh, please tell me more about the slave trade. Oh yes, please tell me more. Well, tiny bit more, but in a minute. So here we are, downtown Rio de Janeiro. It's pretty nice, isn't it? But hundreds of years ago, this was a bit of a site for the Atlantic slave trade. Now, everything we've talked about so far, we know that Brazil set up lots of sugar colonies. A very profitable business for Portugal. Imagine discovering this land multiple times the size of your own country. You can grow sugar, introduce cattle ranching, and then later gold was found. Gold and diamonds were found in mines. But how do you harvest this sugar? How do you extract the gold and the diamonds? Fair enough, you've captured some indigenous peoples and treated them as slaves. But where do we get the people? How do we do this? We don't have machinery. It's it's early days, 1500s, 1600s. How do we do this? Well, we need people. And where do we get people from? Well, that's a good question. We could get Portuguese people. Probably have to pay them a bit. We could get indigenous people, but you know, there's not too many of them, and they're putting up a bit of a fight. So where do we get people? Wow, slave trade. Now the slave trade, I think 1444 it started. Look at that. There's the airport. Look. When you land in Rio, you think your plane is going in the water, and then a runway appears. Anyway, getting some food. Look, she's set up outside her car, selling out the back of it. Might get a cheeky bolognese. So this is what you get for 14 real, which is around $2.60 right now. You get your drink. Look, it's alright, isn't it? This is back of the car prices. Oh, look at that. Spaghetti bolognese with cilantro and green onion and garlic, tomato, spaghetti. It's so heavy. It's like a small child. Not a bad price. Looks good too. Alright, bon appetit. 1444, the Portuguese started bringing slaves from West Africa into Portugal. Slave labor. And then a little later, in the 1500s, they think, okay, well, why don't we bring some slaves over to Brazil? We can fill the boats full, take them on over, you know. We have all this sugar. We want to plant more. We want more sugar. Oh shit, we found some gold and diamonds. Let's extract those too. We need the people. Let's send slaves over. Now, it is thought that around 10 million slaves were brought over from Africa to the Americas, and around 4 to 5 million were brought into Brazil. So that's half that figure. And you have to think, it's a country founded on slavery, isn't it, really? Let's be honest. I mean, 4 to 5 million people forced against their will. But is it the fault of the Portuguese? Like, who's selling these who's selling these slaves? I can't remember his name. I'll put a caption. He was the son of some Portuguese colonists, and he dealt in palm oil, slavery, and was responsible for actually getting a lot of the slaves over here. But it wasn't just the Portuguese. It was their own people as well. You know, this is the argument I see online. They say, the Portuguese are terrible. Look what they did with all the slaves. Yeah, you're correct. It is terrible. But African leaders, tribe leaders, their own people, captured people from other tribes, sometimes even their own people, and they sold them as slaves to the Portuguese. It's not just Portuguese doing this. It's tribal leaders. It's West Africans selling West Africans, you know. This is the argument I don't understand, you know. When you research a subject and have an opinion, make sure you read everything and understand everything, and, you know, approach it with an open mind, because these days people look for negative things and get offended, and, you know, they don't read the research. It's really weird to me, but so anyway, getting off topic. Lots of slaves, lots of sugar, and don't forget we still have the Brazilwood as well with the red dye. We still need to export that. And look where we are right now, Rio de Janeiro. Perfect harbour port for getting the boats in here, loading it up with, loading off the slaves, and then taking the sugar and Brazilwood, gold and diamonds back. So boats are coming here, backwards and forwards. But not only Rio, Sao Paulo, lots of harbour cities. This was a main hub hundreds of years ago for dealing with this lucrative business. And Portugal, rubbing their hands together. It's a lot of money, involved. Anyway, fast forward some time. I don't want to talk about slavery and the history of Portugal too much. It's supposed to be a fun video. Eventually, slavery was abolished in Brazil in the 1800s. I think late 1800s. I'm going to say 1888. One of the last countries to abolish slavery. The United States weren't far behind. 1865 or 8, good old Lincoln. But these are some of the last countries to abolish slavery, and I think this is part of the reason why the United States has a lot of problems with the slavery and everything, when you're the last to do something and you get forced under pressure of everyone else abolishing it, you know, you're eventually going to crumble. It's inevitable. And yeah, some slaves were returned back to their native lands, and apparently when they come back as being slaves, they're now freed. Some of the locals didn't want to talk with them, didn't like them. There was a bit of a separation, like, oh, you were a slave, don't talk to me anymore. Bit weird, isn't it? But it is what it is. Anyway, complicated subject. We can't do that in a little travel video of Rio de Janeiro. But what you can't deny is this is a country found on slave trade, profit and business. And fast forward tens, hundreds of years later, what do we have today? Well, the slaves, a lot of them didn't go home. When I say home, Angola, Congo, Mozambique, a lot of them stay here. A lot of them couldn't leave, didn't want to leave. Decided to stay in Brazil, take their chances. Maybe they started a new life. But if you look at the city today, you can't deny that a city, a country built on the slave trade has its own set of problems. Even today, even in this day and age. If you go around the city, you look at a lot of the people struggling, a lot of the homeless people. You see you definitely see a demographic for sure, and that's not directly related to slavery. You can't blame one thing. That's the key in life. Don't blame one thing. It's a mixture of things. There's a housing problem, there's lots of different government issues that went on, which I really don't want to get into, but you can't deny it's partially responsible. The people are here, and they still are here. And if you walk around the city, you see a lot of that. And I'm not saying all black people are homeless. I'm not saying any of that. But if you look at the statistics, the figures, you can definitely see a trend, and it is partially responsible. It is what it is, you know. So a little bit of a tip. You may have seen the botanical gardens on the map, or maybe there's a tour there or something like that. But you have to pay for entry, like buy the tickets and get there as well. It's a bit of a walk. Some people get a taxi, so you would add that on as well. But if you go to Park Leg, which is it used to be an estate owned by a guy and his wife. I think she was a singer. But it's at the foothills of Christ Redeemer. Totally free. And check it out. It's alright, isn't it? So if you want a bit of exploring, see some nature, maybe you don't want to go too far, you know, you're not like a crazy hiker, then come to the park. It's totally free. There's a little cafe. There's even monkeys and toucans here. And look, even a little castle. But yeah, it's my recommendation, because the botanical garden is bigger, of course, and I mean equally maintained, I guess. But I mean, it is huge. So unless you really like gardens, then go to the botanical gardens. But if you just want to walk around, see some nature, trees, monkeys, toucans, things like that, you can see that in the free park too. So I recommend Park Lag. I'm sure I said that wrong too. There's even a lake over there as well. But it's nice, isn't it? But there's actually a little secret aquarium in here as well. Check it out. Look at that. It's kind of dark in here. It's not bad, is it? And there's some caves there, waterfall, multiple waterfalls, and of course the old residence as well that you can explore, and lots of jackfruit trees. Maybe you can grab one and try it. But yeah, it's a nice little park, isn't it? So if you ever want to get your deposit back for these cards, don't bother. It's impossible. Every time I come here, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, it doesn't matter. They're always closed. There's never anyone here because they all have the machines where you buy the cards. They just rely on those. So even though you pay a deposit on these, the BRT and the metro, it's pointless. You can't get your money back. So yeah, a bit shit really, isn't it? But there you go. You know, I've been looking for a Brazilwood tree all day, and I think I found one. But it's in this area. But let me show you. And it's in a horrible place. So I think this one is a Brazilwood tree, but maybe you can tell me. So you can see the flowers on there. I thought they were yellow. These look a bit more red. And it's hard to get over to, you know, I can't exactly cut the tree open and look at the dye or anything. But let me see if we can look at the leaves. Yeah, it's super difficult to see. Yeah, right there. Wow, that was hard to find. So, last night in Rio, last night in Brazil. Where do we go from here? Who knows? But there is an exciting adventure coming. What better way to spend the last night with an Antarctica beer? I've never tried it. I think it's from Sao Paulo, but I'm not sure. I like it better than the Brahma. Cheers. Salud. Check it out. Check this out. Have you ever seen that before? And gotta give it a go. So, goodbye Rio. Goodbye room. There's a nice little room. It was only $10 a night. Goodbye view. I'm just putting the keys under the door. That way I can lock it. There. Okay. I finally found a Brazilian scotch egg. Check it out. Yeah. Let's give it a whirl. I got a few actually. I got 4 different flavors. So. That one is boiled, I think. Okay, try again. The meat is sour. This one's good. It's like cream cheese. Approved. I'm getting an ice cream from this place. I'm sure it's a chain, but it's my last chance before I leave. Check it out. It's alright, isn't it? It was $8.50, which is around pushing $2, but not there yet. It's alright, isn't it? You get 3 toppings. I remember in the mid-2000s, late 2000s, everyone was crazy over this berry from Brazil, but it's kind of chilled out a bit. But in Brazil you can get it anywhere. So good. Oh, so good. So I'm in the central station now. I'm about to get a train to the airport. I'm doing it without the Uber way. But the problem is, People keep coming over every minute or something, and they either want to sell something, ask for food, ask for money. So it's super annoying. It doesn't help that I have my orange shoes on. It's my fault, I guess. And my 2 bags. But approved. It's amazing. And how do you pronounce it? I always say Açaí, but I'm sure it's not right. Alright, let's go. Oh, and there's the main station if you're interested. It's not a bad main station, is it? Okay, I'll see you all on a brand new adventure coming very soon. Take care, buenas noches, good night, and whatever it is in Portuguese.